Good evening, folks, and welcome to the Sci-Fi Corner. I'm your host, Sean Patrick Erschen, and this week we are doing another movie review. This is Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Released in 2017 and directed this time around by Rian Johnson. The first film in the new trilogy was The Force Awakens, which was directed by J.J. Abrams, of course. Now, J.J. Abrams may not be the most creative director in the world, but he does do a great job of the whole spectacle of things, and you can tell he is a massive fan of Star Wars, and he brought back a lot of that stuff from the original trilogy, especially in bringing back those old original characters like Han Solo and Princess Leia and all that, C-3PO, Chewbacca, and all those, but I also felt like he introduced some cool new characters too, with Rey and Kylo Ren and Poe Dameron. I really enjoyed those characters. But one of the things I didn't enjoy about The Force Awakens was the fact that it was a remake in disguise, It's basically a remake of A New Hope, And that's one of the things that bothers me, and it's another one of the things that bothered me with J.J. Abrams when he did the Star Trek series, The fact that he kind of bit off the old original series as well as Star Wars, so he didn't do anything really creative with that series. But yeah, getting off track here. So let's get to The Last Jedi. Now, I didn't go to see this movie in theaters because kind of the bad karma, kept me away, and that was like the fan backlash. The film actually got great reviews from critics, and it had like a high rating on Rotten Tomatoes, but the fans did not like that. The fans hated a lot of the choices that Rian Johnson made, and yeah, he made a lot of creative decisions that were like a major departure from what we have seen in the past, God forbid you have a little bit of creativity with this franchise. We have seen a lot of the same stuff, over the years. So I did think it was pretty ballsy of Rian Johnson to make some huge creative departures in this film. And that was kind of a double-edged sword, because I didn't like some of the creative choices that we made, I am a huge fan of the original trilogy, and if you are a huge fan of the original trilogy, you probably won't be happy with some of the choices that he makes, especially involving Mark Hamill's big return as Luke Skywalker. And right from the get-go, as soon as, we saw the end of Force Awakens, and I was like, really cool, wow, Luke's back, And that's how the film ends, and Rey hands out the lightsaber to Luke, and then we find out what happens when she gives the lightsaber to Luke Skywalker. He just tosses it away. Yeah. So, they make a joke out of something huge, and you got this major character returning from the original trilogy that we all know and love, and who was like a hero to me as a child, and then you just find that he's just like this cranky old dude that went into seclusion like a hermit, because he couldn't handle the way stuff was going with the Empire, and apparently with Kylo Ren, who we found out Kylo Ren was the son of Han Solo, and he went bad. He went to the dark side of the Force, and Luke found himself at odds with Kylo, and that's why he ended up leaving, because he actually contemplated killing Kylo Ren, Han Solo's son, his best friend. And that is one of the big choices that pisses people off too. And I kind of found that part kind of interesting, but at the same time, it's like Luke Skywalker would never do something like that, you know. And that's one of the things when Mark Hamill said in the press, you know, this isn't my Luke Skywalker. And yeah, he's right. A lot of the things they do with Luke's character are really out of character from the Luke Skywalker that we know from the original trilogy. It's like weird. He's like this cranky old man, you know. He's kind of an ass, you know. You know, I would not want to hang out with this guy. He's kind of a dick, you know. But eventually, over time, you know, Rey really connects with Luke, you know. Eventually, after, you know, because she refuses to let it go, you know. He wants him to, you know, the Resistance needs Luke's help, you know, because Kylo Ren's out there, you know, trying to take over and rule the galaxy along with the Supreme Leader Snoke, who is basically the new Emperor Palpatine in a way, you know. And there's one scene that is just ripped straight from Return of the Jedi, where, you know, Snoke's sitting in his throne with Rey and Kylo going at it, and he's trying to, you know, they're trying to bring her in, lure her into the dark side, the same thing they did with Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader, when Darth Vader brought him, Luke Skywalker, to meet the Emperor, you know, and they tried to convert Luke, you know. It's a very similar scene. But I actually really liked that scene. It was really cool because it definitely played, the events of that did play out differently, though, because Kylo and Rey have kind of a connection, a psychic connection, a psychic bond, and, you know, of course a lot of that comes with the Force, you know. They're both powerful with the Force, and they can read each other's minds. They don't even have to speak, you know, and they can be on the other side of the galaxy and connect, you know. That's how powerful they are with the Force. And that's one thing that I really enjoyed about The Last Jedi, that those scenes are really cool when they connect, and it's like they're in the same room talking to each other, but they're not. They're miles and miles away from each other, you know. Kylo Ren's out in space in one of the, you know, the First Order's ships, and Rey's down there on this weird planet with Luke Skywalker. Yeah. But I really enjoyed those scenes. I thought that was really cool. And I will say that Daisy Ridley had a fantastic performance, as well as Adam Driver. Their chemistry was off the charts. It was really interesting, the dynamic between the two, even though they're on opposite sides of the spectrum. He's on the dark side, he's evil, and she's good, you know. But she decides she wants to try to bring him to become a Jedi, you know. And therein lies her mistake, you know. And that's her being young and kind of naive. Even when Luke tells her, you know, you can't do this, you know. And, but something happens, you know. Rey's character finds out a little bit of dirt about, you know, Luke. She finds out that Luke did once try to kill Kylo, and that really, like, wow, you know. That really messes with her. And she decides she's just going to leave and go off on her own and try to reel Kylo Ren into the light side of the Force, you know. And things don't quite go her way. And those things I really enjoyed about the film. So yeah, I actually didn't see The Last Jedi until it came to Netflix, you know. So yeah, the fan backlash kept me away, and just like it's doing now, with the Rise of Skywalker coming out to theaters this weekend, I feel the same way. You know, there's a lot of fan backlash, there's a lot of negative reviews. This time the critics didn't really seem to like the Rise of Skywalker, so yeah, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do. I might go see it. If I do, I'm certainly going to give you guys a review of it. I think I will go see it, but I'm probably not going to go on the opening night and spend all this money. I'll probably go see a matinee in like Sunday morning or something, you know. But I probably will go see it, and if I do, I'll certainly give you guys a review on my channel. So yeah, let's get into some of the things I didn't like, and that is the subplot with Finn's character and Rose when they go looking for this tracking device that the First Order used against them, and the plot, some of the plot where it's like it seems contrived, you know, where the Resistance is running out of fuel in their ships. We've never seen anything like that in the Star Wars franchise. And that's basically the whole, half the movie is the First Order trying to take out the Resistance as they run low on fuel and they're desperate, you know. And we do see General Leia, you know, Princess Leia, Carrie Fisher returning, and I will say she definitely does a better job in this film, I think, than The Force Awakens. I felt like she was a little bit rusty with her acting because she hadn't acted in years, you know. But here, she had a solid performance. I really enjoyed Carrie Fisher in this film. And there is a great scene with Luke and Leia together, but also it was kind of disappointing because, you know, they only said a few words, a couple sentences, and like, wow, we haven't seen these two together in, what, 40 years, and they only have a few sentences together. It was kind of disappointing in a way, but it was still nice to see them on screen together, you know. We didn't get to see Luke with Han Solo, unfortunately, in Force Awakens, and that was disappointing. I just wish they all had gotten together, and that would have been so cool, but it never really happened, you know. At least, I mean, maybe they are in this new movie, The Rise of Skywalker, but we haven't seen it yet. But yeah, I didn't like that whole side plot with Finn and this new character, Rose, who's like this mechanic, and they go off to this planet called Canto Bite, which is like a giant casino. And it's nothing but like an excuse to show all these weird, wild characters, like similar to the cantina scene in the original Star Wars, but it's like on a grander scale. We see all these freaky aliens everywhere. And it's just kind of goes nowhere, you know. It's kind of boring. It drags the movie down because it's not that important, you know. And then they meet this guy played by Benicio del Toro, who's like supposed to be this master code breaker, and he's really kind of an annoying character. And yeah, the whole thing I feel like could have just been cut right out of the movie, and it would have been a better movie. Really, it would have. Because everything they do with Kylo Ren and Rey is great, you know. And I will say that Mark Hamill is fantastic in this movie, even though I don't like some of the choices that they made with his character, like, you know. But I will say Rian Johnson had balls, you know, to pull these tricks, you know, these departures from the things we know about Star Wars, you know. He wanted to make his own movie. He didn't want to follow suit along with what Kathleen Kennedy wanted them to do and what J.J. Abrams had established. You know, he wanted to just go his own way and do his own thing, you know. And sometimes that's good, sometimes it's not, you know. That's why it's kind of a mixed bag for me. There's a lot of awesome special effects. I mean, this film looks beautiful. It's fantastic, the special effects, and it's so sleek and regal looking, and the costume design is amazing, and the score by John Williams is absolutely amazing. So yeah, there is a lot to like about The Last Jedi, but then you have those things that are just like maddening, you know, like, oh, why'd they do that? Why? You know, it just goes in so many directions that, like, why did you do that? You know, did you do that just to piss people off, or just to get a reaction out of people, you know? Yeah, what they do with Luke is like so infuriating at times, and the way it ends, I don't want to spoil it for you guys if you've never seen The Last Jedi, especially if you're going in to see The The Rise of Skywalker. I don't want to spoil The Last Jedi because you might be wanting to have a marathon before you might be wanting to get all excited and watch all the Star Wars movies. So I'm not going to spoil the ending for you guys, but I found it to be really disappointing, but I will say that scene on the planet and where they kind of reenact what we saw in The Empire Strikes Back a little bit, and that battle on the Hoth planet, and we see the big giant walkers again. That was cool, and that made for some awesome special effects. I will say that the opening space battle is just absolutely fantastic. The special effects are amazing, and that's one of the things we've come to love about Star Wars, that epic opening on a grand scale, and I really felt that again with this movie. Some great stuff, and you got some interesting new characters like Laura Dern as Admiral Holdo, and she kind of basically takes over for General Leia. General Leia ends up getting blown off her ship, and that's another scene people have issues with. Because she uses the Force for the first time. Now we find out that she can use the Force, and she's powerful, and that keeps her alive when she's floating out in space. Some might find that scene pretty awkward and maybe a little bit cheesy, but I really enjoyed that, actually. I thought that was cool, It was like, oh, cool, she can use the Force. That's neat, and that kept her alive, and she kind of floated back to the ship to safety. I thought that was really cool, I didn't have a problem with that, But while she's recovering, Laura Dern's character, Admiral Holdo, takes over the ship, and she really has issues with Poe Dameron and his recklessness and his reckless behavior, They're really at odds, and, that she kind of really puts him in his place in one scene, and you're like, whoa, damn. And this is a character that is kind of very Han Solo-ish. She's kind of a rebel, but she really puts him in his place, and he just has to stick his foot in his mouth, like, whoa. Damn, Han Solo would not have taken that crap, let me tell you. No way. But yeah, overall, I do enjoy The Last Jedi, especially upon the second watch of it. The first time, I was a little bit leery, and some of those choices that director Rian Johnson made really ticked me off. But when I went and bought it on Blu-ray, I found it really cheap for $6, and then I just kind of sat there by myself and watched the whole thing, and I really enjoyed a lot of things about it. But yeah, there are still those issues that really irk me and bother me, and they're kind of maddening. But overall, I do enjoy the film, I have to say, I do enjoy The Last Jedi. So guys, it's definitely worth a second chance. Give it a chance. Watch it. And give it a real chance. Sit down and really focus on the story and all the things that are good about it, not just what's bad about it. Yeah, if you want to nitpick on everything that doesn't work, because there are things that don't work, it's not right. You gotta look at the good things that Rian Johnson did, and some of the cool things that he did, and the good creative choices he made, and the good risks he made. And overall, you might enjoy it. At any rate, check out Star Wars The Last Jedi, directed by Rian Johnson, starring Daisy Ridley, Adam Driver, Mark Hamill, and of course, Carrie Fisher, the late Carrie Fisher, rest in peace. And thank you for joining me, Sean Patrick Erschen, in the Sci-Fi Corner.